So, in the last lecture, we have discussed about basic modeling of and geometric modeling and solid modeling, and we have already discussed about wireframe modeling. So, we have learnt about this geometric modeling. Then types of modeling, we know wireframe, surface, solid modeling. It's just a quick review. We will come to this slide later. Wireframe modeling, I have already told you, it's made up of edges and vertices. Okay. So, basically of 2D modeling, 2.5D modeling and 3D modeling, already told that in case of 2.5D modeling, it resembles like 3D, but not side wall details. Okay. So, this is a wireframe model. With the help of this, you can have a quick review. So, you can see it's basically made up of edges, curves, vertices. So, wireframe modeling does not have any mass. So, it's only made up of the corners, that is vertices, edges, lines, curves, circles. Okay. Now, advantages of wireframe model: easy to construct, most economical. Just a second. Yeah, easy to construct, most economical in terms of time and memory requirement, as it is storing only description of line vertices. So, the storage necessary to store will require very less. So, space it will be occupying is very less. So, that is why memory requirement will be less. So, used to model solid objects, often used for previewing objects in an interactive scenario. So, wireframe models are simple, easy to create with little computer time and memory. Wireframe models form the basis for surface model. So, if you want to create a surface model, then it is the first step. You have to create a wireframe model, then from wireframe model you can make a surface model. CPU time required to retrieve, that is edit or update a wireframe model, is usually small compared with the surface or solid modeling, because it only contains the information about lines and vertices. Okay. So, that is why it requires less time. Now, disadvantage of wireframe model. So, it is create ambiguous, that is confusion, as there are number of lines and vertices. You have to actually analyze which surface is on the top side, on the back side. So, that is why it is a little bit confusion. And inability to differentiate between inside and outside objects, okay, because no surfaces are present, that is why. No uniqueness is present there, not suitable for mass property calculation, as it does not have any mass, and hidden surface removal cannot be done. So, shaded images generation. So, image disadvantage tend to be not realistic, ambiguity, complex model, difficult to interpret. So, this is how you can see it is difficult to interpret how it looks like, until unless you have not you have to visualize by your own that how a object will look like if the surfaces are present. Okay. Does not allow for use of photorealistic rendering tools. So, some software is capable of hidden line removal on limited basis, but it does not allow when photorealistic rendering tools are there. No ability to determine computational information or mass properties. So, no mass is present, and it does not guarantee that the model definition is correct. Okay. So, complete or manufacturable. Now comes to surface modeling. So, we will start today by surface modeling. So, it was a quick review about wireframe model, now surface modeling. So, it consists surface also. When we have to make a surface model, then wireframe model becomes the first step to draw a surface model. Okay. So, surface model is a addition of wireframe entities and surface entities. So, we add surfaces to a wireframe model to make a surface model. So if surfaces are added to a wireframe entity, then a surface model is made. So it is a set of faces, it is no thickness. So it's a set of faces, there is no thickness. It defines geometry but not topology. So topology cannot be defined, as topology required mass and actual dimensions, but it defines the geometry, basic geometry, but not topology. So defines geometry but not topology. And shading and coloring is possible. Obviously surfaces are there, so shading and coloring is possible, which was not possible in case of wireframe model. So in case of wireframe model that was not possible, but in this case it is possible. So surface modeling is more sophisticated than wireframe modeling in that it defines not only the edges of a 3D object but also its surfaces. So in surface modeling, objects are defined by their bounding surfaces, faces. Okay, so they are defined by their bounding faces. So this is basically you can see a figure of a surface modeling in which only surfaces are present. Okay, it's not a solid model, it's a surface model where surfaces are present, and you can compare it if you visualize a matchbox. A matchbox with obviously no matches inside it. So a matchbox has a surfaces only, or any cartoon that is made up of this normally carton which is used to store some product for the packaging industry. Also it is used in packaging industry. So a unfilled empty carton. So in empty carton you can visualize it or compare it with the empty carton which has surfaces, but inside it it's hollow. There is nothing inside it. So surface model is like that. Okay. So surface entities which are required to draw this surface model. So similar to wireframe entities, so existing CAD/CAM system provide designers with both analytic and synthetic surface entities. Now there are two types of entities, that is analytic and synthetic. Okay. So first let's know about analytic entities. So they include plane surface, ruled surface, surface of revolution and tabulated surface. Okay. So plane surface, then ruled surface, surface of revolution and tabulated cylinder. Next is synthetic entities include Bezier surface and B-spline surface, and these surfaces are very important, which cannot be drawn using old traditional drafting method, because they are made up of some curves, synthetic curves, and these synthetic curves are basically nothing but these synthetic curves are made using some polynomial equations. So with the help of those polynomial equations and differentiating them, we get these curves, and with the help of these curves, that is Bezier curve, B-spline curve, we call these curves as synthetic curves or Hermite curve. With the help of those curves we make the surfaces, and these surfaces define the profile of any object. Like if we say that right now in aviation industry or in automobile industry, the surface of the automobile or the surface of an aeroplane is not just a normal surface, the outer body surface. It has a profile, aerodynamic profile. Then how this aerodynamic profile is made? So basically this aerodynamic profile is made using these surfaces. Okay, using these curves, which we generate these curves using softwares, and with the help of these softwares we generate these curves, and with the help of these curves we make the surfaces according to the need for the aerodynamic purposes, so that the drag could be minimum. We can have a minimum drag so that a vehicle or an airplane can face a minimum resistance due to air. So there we use these entities, that is synthetic entities. Now advantages of surface modeling. So basically it's less ambiguous compared to wireframe modeling, that we know, because surfaces are present right now. Okay. Then uniqueness present by hidden lines not seen. So you cannot see the uniqueness with the hidden lines are not present in this. Okay. then appear more realistic by providing hidden line and surface algorithm. So if we provide a hidden line and surface algorithm, then they appear to be more realistic. Then support volume and mass calculation can be done with the help of a support volume, and FEA, finite element analysis, can also be done. This is finite element analysis, and we will study in detail about this software, finite element method, finite element analysis. There are software available for this finite element analysis. Okay. Now disadvantages: no information about inside of objects. So there is no information. Obviously, this model is made up of surfaces, so no information inside interior part. Okay, no information for the interior part. Second, complicated computation. So depending on number of surfaces, so computation is complicated. As we increase the number of surfaces, then computation obviously become difficult. Then requires more CPU time and memory compared to wireframe model, because now it has also to store the information about the surfaces. So as surfaces are increased, so it requires more space and more memory, and that's why more CPU time will be required and memory will be required compared to the wireframe models. Solid modeling. So solid modeling is the most powerful 3D modeling technique. So nowadays we only deal with this solid models. So object is defined by vertices, edges, surfaces, weight and volume within the defined boundary. So wireframe was only defined by vertices and edges. In case of surface modeling, surfaces are added, and in case of 3D modeling, weight and volume is added. Okay, so remember this. You can see the comparison between all, wireframe, surface and solid modeling, how we are adding the things to make the model more realistic. Okay, so within the defined boundary, the boundary of model separates interior and exterior of model object. Okay, so it is a complete, valid, unambiguous representation of model. Store both geometrical and topological information. Use of solid modeling in design and manufacturing is rapidly increasing, because why we are using this or why this solid modeling is demand in market. Reason is it reduce the computing cost. So computing cost is reduced in case of solid modeling. Fast computing hardware is available. So right now, due to the development in the computers, computing cost is reduced. Fast computing hardwares are available. Improved user interface is available, and there is a lot of software improvements throughout the years in this field. Okay, so because of these reasons, solid modeling is become very easy, and solid modeling is very good for seeing the product, or before manufacturing you can see more realistic product, and you can even manufacture the product with the help of the solid model in a 3D printer for a prototype purpose, that we call as rapid prototyping. Okay. Now you can see from a wireframe model to a solid model. So this was a wireframe model. And this is a solid model. So this is how we have, throughout years, this is the conversion which we have done from a wireframe model to a solid model. Okay. So in CAD system, there are a number of representation schemes for solid modeling. It includes, first, primitive creation functions, then constructive solid geometry, sweeping and boundary representation. We will study all of these, and the most important is CSG, that is constructive solid geometry, and BREP, that is boundary representation. They are quite easy, you can easily understand, and you can also face a question on these two techniques for solid modeling. Now, in order to reduce the level of complexity, solid modeling system use functions such as, obviously we have studied in last slide, that is primitive creation, Boolean operations, lifting, sweeping, swinging and rounding, which require a simpler input. So 5 group of modeling functions are generally supported by most solid modeling systems. So advantages of solid modeling, it's non-ambiguous, we have already seen. Uniqueness is present by hidden lines not seen, okay. Appear more realistic by providing hidden line and surface algorithm. Support volume and mass calculation, improves quality of design, improves visualization and can be used in SIM and CAM. That is, CAM is obviously a part of a SIM, so overall SIM, or not overall SIM, then you can at least use it in CAM. Now disadvantages of solid modeling, more complicated computation, then surface and wireframe, obviously. Now weight and volume is added, so computation becomes more complicated, requires more powerful computers as it requires weight other than edges, vertices and surfaces, weight and volume is also added, so it requires more space. If it requires more space, then more memory is required, then so computational time will increase, obviously. So because of which we require some powerful computers for the analysis of this or for the modeling of 3D model. Now softwares which are available for CAD, CAM, CAE and CAP. So CAD software basically allows the designer to create and manipulate a shape interactively and store it. So basic purpose of a CAD software is to create, manipulate a shape interactively and store it. Then you have a CAM software which manages and controls the operations of a manufacturing site, okay. Then CAE, that is computer aided engineering. This software, it designs the geometry, allowing designer to study product behavior with the help of this CAE. So these are the softwares, that is CAD, computer aided design, CAM, these are short abbreviations, that is CAM, computer aided manufacturing. Then you have this CAE, which is computer aided engineering. Then CAP, which is computer aided process planning. We will study all of these. CAQA, that is computer aided quality assurance, which you use for the quality control purpose. Okay, next is CAPS, that is computer aided production planning and scheduling. So we are adding scheduling in this CAPS software. If we add this scheduling, then it becomes CAPS, okay. Then CAST, that is computer aided storage and transport for the things which you have make. So a software is needed to transport or store these things, so we can use that CAST software for these purposes. So packages, Solid Edge modeling softwares which are available right now in the market, that is Solid Edge, SolidWorks, CATIA, ProE, Autodesk Inventor and AutoCAD, okay. For the analysis purposes, the software available is ANSYS, Nastran and Abacus. These are the software which are available in the market for analysis purpose. Now hardware in CAD components, basically we are seeing, I have taken this image from chaptertips.com, okay. So block diagram of a computer, you can see input, a keyboard and mouse is needed. Then there is a secondary storage and the primary storage in terms of RAM and ROM, and from there you can get an output unit which is printers and monitors, and there is some control unit and arithmetic, that is ALU unit present there. So this is how a computer works. So basically this is a CPU which contains a ALU and control unit, then from input and output, here processing is being done and main memory is being used by this CPU. So input devices, mouse, thumb wheels, light pens, joystick, scanners, digitizers and keyboards. So these are the input devices. When we talk about output devices, graphical terminal like CRT monitor, plotters, printers. You all know, but it's just, we are just quickly reviewing all these things. So then third is central processing unit, CPU, which contains arithmetic logical unit, that is ALU, and a control logic unit, that is CLU. Storage memory, there are two types of storage memory, primary and secondary. Primary is RAM and ROM, and secondary is, hard disk, floppy, CD, pen drive, which you have seen, I think. Now you can recognize all these parts of a computer, very common. Now user interface devices, so the device used for interaction between user and the computer system is known as user interface devices. So for example, output device and input device, two types. Input devices, keyboard, light pens, a pointing device. Keyboard, all of you know what is keyboard. Light pens is a pointing device used to select a displayed graphics item on a screen by directly touching it surface of items. Then digitizing tablets, so a pointing device and is a flat surface over which a stylus can be moved by user. So these are digitizers. Recently all the things are very common. Okay. System, it is a location of point device, you all know. Joysticks, basically used for gaming purpose. Okay. Then trackball, so it is a locating device used to navigate a screen display cursor by rotating a ball. So using just a ball, you can navigate this pointer on the screen cursor. Okay. Next is thumb wheels. So it is used to control horizontal and vertical positions, that is X and Y. Okay. So if you want to control the coordinates, then we use thumb wheels. Now graphical display device. There earlier CRT monitor was used. Many of you have seen the earlier picture tube, that is a CRT, and many of you have already learned about it also, that is CRT, cathode ray tube. And it uses two types of display techniques, that is raster and refresh display, that we will learn about, because the two techniques are important. Okay. Then it used direct view storage tube. Then we have this liquid crystal display. Next, after this CRT, we have come to this next generation, that is LCD, and from LCD to LED, plasma display, so you can see. Then we have hard copy printers. So hard copy printers can be an impact printer, in which dot matrix printer is an example. Then we have non-impact printer like inkjet printers and laser printers. Okay. So impact printers that you can see very commonly in post office and all, where impact is being made. So that is a dot matrix printer. The thing has been written with the help of dots. Okay. And non-impact printer is very common. You can see in college, might be present in your home. Okay. The inkjet printers and laser printers. Now plotters. Plotters are of two types. First is pen plotters. That can be of two types. That is flatbed plotter and drum type plotter. And second is electrostatic plotters. These are used to draw, plot. Okay. Now we will discuss about display devices, that is computer graphics, in which we will discuss about CRT, and we will just have a look or a quick review of these devices. Okay. So let's start. That is a cathode ray tube, CRT. So CRT is the mostly used display technology earlier, but it has been completely replaced by new technologies like LED, LCD, plasma. Okay. It is the primary output device in the graphical system. Might be in some colleges you can see CRT monitors, a bulky one. So these monitors are CRT. Now cathode ray tube is a vacuum tube that contains one or more electron gun and a phosphorus screen, and is used to display images where electrons are generated and they are being impacted on the phosphorus screen where a display is being generated. Okay. So it modulates, accelerate and deflect electron beam onto the screen to create the images. Okay. This is how it is being working. You can see an electron gun is present here. Here is an electron gun from which electrons are generated, and once the electrons are generated, they are being focused. A beam is being generated with the help of a beam focusing unit. This makes this beam as a, and then we have a deflection system in vertical and in horizontal. So this one is the vertical one and this one is the horizontal one, and they are being deflected on a phosphorus coating screen, and when they this beam, electron beam, is impacted on this phosphorus screen, then image is being illumination is generated, and this illumination is basically, it generates pixel is, and with the help of these pixels an image is drawn. So this is how any image is formed. So a single beam generates a illumination which is being represented in the form of a pixel. So number of pixels forms a image. So you can see here, same diagram, just a colorful one. All the units are present here. Okay, base, and then we have electron gun, then this is basically a focusing system, then we have this X and Y deflection, and here is a phosphorus screen on which beam is being impacted. Now parts of CRT. So we have already seen what are the parts of CRT. That is electron gun, beam focusing unit, deflection system, that is in horizontal direction deflection or vertical deflection, phosphorus coated screen, and a CRT casing. Principal operation. So it is based on the concept that energizing an electron beam that strikes the phosphorus coating in a screen at a very high speed causes it to illuminate and glow as the image is to be displayed. Okay, so this is the principle of CRT. Application: computers, monitor, TV. Advantages: low cost, high viewing angle, but very bulky, high power consumption. Image quality is not so good as compared to recent technologies. Disadvantages: heavier and bulky, more power consumptions, and has a small pixel. That I have already told all these disadvantages. Now come to liquid crystal display. That is after CRT this LCD is developed, and LCD was developed, and you can see many of you have seen the LCD monitors, very thin type. They are not so bulky and they are very power efficient. Okay, so it's a flat panel display that uses light modulating properties of liquid crystal. Liquid crystals light modeling properties are used here, and with the help of that image is being generated. So it replaces the heavy CRT displays. Application: computer monitors, TV, instrument panels, watches, digital cameras, calculators. So everywhere LCDs are being used. So how it works? We have a twisted cell. We can see this is a twisted numerical cell, pneumatic cells. So incident light is passed through polarizer here, and it goes to the twisted pneumatic cell. So when an electric field is being generated, you can see these cells are not aligned here, but when the electric field is being generated, these cells are aligned. So this alignment actually generates a image. So when a light is being incident on this twisted pneumatic cells, they get aligned and they get the twisting light, and if we again polarize it, then we get a image generation light. So you can see here a mirror is being present. Okay, so polarizing film is there. Basically it comes from here, and polarizing film, it get polarized. After getting polarized, again a glass filter is being present. It sends to a negative electrode. You can see this is a negative electrode, and from there a liquid crystal layer is present where pneumatic cells is present, where they get aligned, and once they get aligned, then it passes through again positive electrode. This is a positive electrode, then again to a glass filter, then a polarizer, and here is a displayed image which you want to display. Now this is how a polarization is being made. You can see with the help of electric field. So in X direction, you can see polarization is being done with the help of this electric field. that is in XY plane. So how a polarization is being made. So these pneumatic liquid crystals are aligned. All these crystals are aligned. Once the light has been polarized, light is being passed through this liquid crystal. Principal operation: when an electric current is applied to liquid crystal, light tend to twist. Advantages: it is efficient, lightweight, can be disposed more safely than CRT. So can be disposed than CRT. Disadvantages: limited viewing angle, low refresh rate, loss of contrast in high temperature experiment. Okay. Then you have this. So after LCD, plasma display, it is a flat panel display obviously as LCD, but here you can image is of very good quality as pixel size has been increased here. Okay. So which uses plasma containing electrically inert gas. So it uses electrically charged ionized inert gases, that is helium and xenon, which are plasmas basically. So high voltage discharge excites gas, is helium and xenon, upon which the ultraviolet light is emitted, and ultraviolet light excites the phosphorus in the screen. So basically when we are using in CRT monitor, we are using this electron beam illuminating the phosphorus screen, but here we are using ultraviolet rays light for illuminating the phosphorus screen. So also called as gas discharge display, as we are using gas mixture of high voltage is being given to this excited gas mixture, which generates the UV light. Okay. It is an emissive type display, as emission is being made of UV light, that's why we are calling it as emissive type display. So this is basically a plasma display. So you can see here, this is rare plate glass and this is a dielectric layer, and these dielectric layers are parallel. There are two types of dielectric layer, that is address electrodes are present in it. One is a electrode and another is of display electrodes, and these electrodes are parallel to each other, but their orientation is perpendicular to each other. Okay, you can see in this these are horizontals in case of address electrode, and in case of display electrode these are vertical in nature, and there is a phosphorus coating in plasma cells which is present here in between. So this is how the display is being generated. You can see more section, cut section view of this. Here is a dielectric layer, so you can see the electrode orientation of these electrodes here, and in case of these electrode orientation is like this, and in between this inert gases is present, and MgO layer is provided. MgO layer is basically, that is magnesium oxide layer, protective layer which is provided here. Basically the role of this layer is to decrease the breakdown voltage caused by high secondary electron emission coefficient of magnesium oxide. Now what are the advantages of plasma? Large view angle, more powerful and clarity than compared to the CRT and obviously LCD. Large pixels, that is of 1 mm. Now you see that here is one. Superior uniformity, less expensive than LCD. Okay. Disadvantages: more power consumption, heavier than LCD. Now types of CRT display. So these are very important. That is scan type, raster scan, we will study them. So they are basically types of, we are considering this types of scan technique. So there is raster technique and scan technique. Then in graph, that is refresh display, raster display, or direct view storage tube, that is DVST. So basically types of CRT display, you can see scan technique, raster scan and random scan, and we will study in detail in the next lecture. Okay, so that's all for today. Thank you.